About the curfew, it's okay. You can ask as many questions as possible. It's very fine with us. We are with the team back here. And to react to the movie, wow, it's very touching to me. It's my first time to see it ever since it was edited. Yeah, it's very amazing, but also touching to me and giving out something that I really want the world to know about our livelihood. Yeah, maybe Florence can say something.
Florence, nawe wavuga ukuntu movie uri kuyireba yari meze ite? Yes.
Nje kugeza n'izi sawa ndacyayishima cyane. Keneye kugira ngo mwongere mugaruke twongere dukorane kugeza igihe cyo nzapfira.
Okay, now Florence is saying that she's so happy to have worked on this project, on this film, and she's feeling happy that it's going all over, and she's feeling that she's happy she's seeing very people, and she's saying that she wishes to do more movies because she's happy she talked about the story and she was like giving out what she feels.
Yeah, that she wanted to bring out that feeling and bring more things and bring more people to know about we the Batwa. That's what she was saying, which I wanted to say as well, because this movie is trying to bring out who the Batwa are, who we are, and how we are living, and what made us to live this way, yeah, and why we are depending on tourists and why we're depending on NGOs, yeah. So we really would like to have more people come up with us and bring up the longer version, surely, because there are more details and more and more stories to tell, which are very, very, very great to hear and to know more about us, really. I would love, if possible, we get, because 15 minutes is telling us something very nice, but if we can get a movie for 1.5 hours, which can give you who we are, yeah? And why we are speaking this English now.
Thank you very much. I am reading here some questions, and I just wanted to let you know one that I think it's a question, it's a reaction of a person I know is Kipchumba from the Sengwer people in Kenya. They are also indigenous peoples in Kenya, and they're also being impacted by the conservation. And he sending a lot of love to the Batwa people, and he said, together we will decolonize conservation. And I wanted to share this reaction with you because this is happening, as I said at the beginning, you know, what is happening today to the Batwa is happening also to the Baka, to the Sengwer, to a lot of other people and indigenous people in Africa. And this is one of the things I wanted to ask you before reading the question. You know, for a lot of people watching this movie, conservation is something good. You know, people in my country, they want to protect animals, and they think that creating national parks is a good thing. You know, they gave money to, you know, these big organizations, NGOs, to protect the forest. And they don't know what actually is happening. They think that people like you actually are harming the animals, are bad for the animals. So how would you react to that? Now that you can talk with the people like from my country that are supporting this kind of conservation, what would be your message, you and Florence too?
Okay, Florence, bari kuvuga ngo abantu kugira ngo bari gutekereza ko bari kurebera amashamba n'inyamaswa zirimo ngo ni byiza, ariko byarabagoye mwewe nk'abantu. Weho exactly, none bari kubaza weho uri kubyumva hute kugira ngo mwewe bavanemo nk'abantu kandi ishamba ryo yabafasha. Yes.
Urabona hari ikibazo yatangiye ari kuvuga ngo abatwa bakuye mu mashamba bari kugira ngo abatwa bononaga inyamaswa bakonona ishamba, ariko nkawe wavugaho iki kubera icyambere kubera mbese kubabwira ko mutononaga ko mutabaga muri konona amashamba ni iki cyo wabivugaho? Icyo cyambere natekereza ko wababwira hari ibisimba byo namwe mwumvaga ko mukunze byo mwavuga ngo ibyo twaryaga ubu twageze mu gihugu, ibyo bisimba byo twaryaga turabibura, ibihamo byo twaryaga turabibura,
ubu turi ku
Okay, so now Florence is responding on that question that for her, she feels in the forest.
n'imiti zo twabonagamo ubu ndazo zo turi kubona kandi ibinini na ashira bizi yuko ndarya giti ibinini sinabiri ariko ari bishakaho ndagumishiriza mbimire.
Okay, so now Florence is saying that in the forest there used to be those different animals, the herbal trees, and to them it's not the way other people feel that they can destroy, they harm the plants, because first of all, for her, she doesn't use this medicine from the hospital. She uses the herbs, which she feels that if she was still in the forest, she would be conserving. There are some animals in the forest they used to see, like she feels that if they were still in the forest, they would also be taking care of them, using them as pet animals, the way people do.
Yeah.
For them, they would be taking care of them, not destroying, because they are also their friends when they are still in the forest. Yes, that's her reaction.
Now, for example, you see, people come to see the gorillas, and the gorillas are not harming people. Yes. And then the Batwa used to live with the gorillas, yeah? My ancestors. So if you tell me that you can remove people from the forest who conserved the forest, and you want to get money out of the forest, and yet the people that were conserving the forest are not gaining anything from the forest, then that's something I don't agree with. Yeah. For example, I talked about the gorillas. Yeah. You coming from the US, coming from Colombia, coming from where to come and look at a gorilla. That is because a Mutwa befriended it and made sure it can be part of, yeah, everybody. So I feel when they got us from the forest, we would be resettled or something, but otherwise it would be better if we go and gather fruits and eat all those things. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's so important for us. I feel that we are very privileged to be able to talk directly with you. So also thank you very much to the people translating. It's very kind. And I am sorry that we don't speak your language, I have to say. I will read other questions from the public. I think there is a very interesting question that is something we have been debating also in survival about the rangers, the park rangers. There is a question that says, is it right that the rangers are also in a difficult situation and they are being signed up under pressure? I mean, I think that the movie, there is this figure of the ranger. So, and usually they are portrayed or as a heroes or as a human right abuser. So how would you react to the figure of the ranger? I don't know if that's clear.
According to me, I don't think the rangers are under pressure. Why? They are they are salaried, yes, and they're after looking for money to take care of their parents. So I don't feel they are under pressure and whatever, because if they can go and guard up people who are going to look at the gorillas and all these things, they're just looking after getting money from them. Yeah. So I don't think they're under pressure. If they are salaried, then why would he be under pressure? Because it's a command from the big people, yeah? So they can't be under pressure. I don't think so.
Yes, what about Florence? Is Florence or Florence? Because I tended to pronounce it in the French way, but maybe it's Florence, right?
Florence.
Yeah, okay. Does she have anything to say about the Rangers, or we can
no,
go?
Florence, abagadi bo mu shamba ngo bamwe bari kumva ko baba bashizeho ibyo barabye ibyo gukora bamwe batabishaka no kubikora siko baho uri kubitekerezaho nk'iki bari gukora umurimo ngo baba babwiye bari gukora barabishaka ubana bari gukora umurimo just nk'abandi bantu bari gushaka kagasente abarenje batekerezaho iki ko nkabo
ngo bari ku gahato cyangwa
bari gutekereza bakorera ku gahato urabona nka buriya Bizimana yabakuye mu shamba sibyo ko yabakuye mu shamba atangira kumva ari kubabara kubera ari kureba imbere zo muri kuberamo uri gutekereza ngo nabo bari gukorera ku gahato nangwa n'ibintu byo babishakira
baba bari gukora ku murimo go bariho ariko njewe nkababazwa n'ishyamba ryo navuyemo ndikubonamo iki ndikubonamo icyo kuri.
So like Florence, for her in her her thinking, she feels that game rangers, they work according to what they told them to do, and some work on pressure because they be feeling they need to fulfill what their bosses want, and there are some who work like feeling that they feel sorry for the Batwa who are not in the forest, even other people, because they feel that they would be free when they are outside. But she feels that for her, she doesn't feel that they work under pressure because they are after money.
Yeah, according to the movie, in a few scenes, there was a part where one of the rangers, Bismana, had some kind of human. Yeah, so it's not like they're under pressure, but they also believe that the people that are chasing out of the forests are people like them. Yeah, and they should gain help. So it's after their command that is making them go and enforce the battle out. But otherwise, they do have the heart of saying, oh, this is my fellow person, so I should not torture and do all this. Whatever, they command me to do this, but I feel it's not worth.
Thank you very much. I would also like, I see there are some questions about the process of the film, how it has been created, but I think I will leave those questions after the statement. So Asher and Luke, you can intervene too. I would-
We're happy, we're happy to, keep going and just let Flo and Elijah talk as long as the connection's there and the curfew's there, and we can get to that at the end here.
Okay, so I don't, the statement can wait a little bit, right? I don't want to, okay. Okay, perfect. And then we can talk about it. Yes, so coming back, I will see what other questions are. There is a question that I find interesting. It says mostly, this has been happening on for a while, and people in Europe, at least, have been aware of these abuses for a while. How this still can happen? I don't know if you are the best place. I think this question should be addressed to us. But why do you think, in your view, why do you think these abuses of the Batwa is still happening in the name of conservation? Why do you think that it's? I don't know if you are the best places to reply. I think that is a question for us, but I think it's interesting to see your point of view.
Yes.
Why is it happening? Why is it still happening? One, it's because ever since we were evacuated from the forest, we've never gotten a voice to speak for us. Yeah, that's one. And then two, ever since we were evacuated from the forest, we've been depending on NGOs, yeah, and certain tourists like you people. So why we would like our children to go to school like me, it's because we would like, at one point, we get funds, go into parliament and bring out all those kinds of discussions, yeah? Because, to campaign, you need money. So if I had money, I would gather all educated Batwa, and then we go to parliament for such kind of discussions and bring back our land and bring back our faith and hope and be like any other person. Why it's insisting to happen like that? We do not have a voice to lead us. But if we act such movies and they are seen to the world, so that's one voice already, yeah? So if it is followed up and then we claim for things will work out.
Florence, urenda kukivuga hiki.
None barabajije kuki utekereza ngo abatwa baracyabafata nabi kuva babana mu shamba, kuki utekereza ngo baracyabafata nabi nk'abatwa kandi mwakoraho nk'iki n'ibiki byo mwashaka gukorwa kugira ngo mube neza mbere.
Nuko twaba dufite zacu mirima tugafata tukazihinga ntiduce inshuro, ariko ku bw'izi saha tunaracabonabona kuko turacyahatswe.
So for Florence, for her, she feels that the reason why they are still suffering, yet there are those people who say that they are working towards helping them, like some of the NGOs. It's because some are not trustworthy. After getting something that it's to help these communities, the Batwa, they don't take it directly. They don't even like call them to tell them we got this small thing from these people, from these charitable people. But instead, those people, they use those things, the money, the clothes, for their benefits, and they don't tell them. Because like recently, there is a Mutwa who died, and they wanted a coffin, but they went to one of the NGOs that helps them, and these people were telling the Batwa, no, we don't have money, go back, do this, do this. And they were like, why? These people, they say that they are helping us, but they don't. So they want these some people to come out to speak on their behalf. And for her, she was like, now, the reason why she was like acting with the whole effort, she was telling her story to different people. She doesn't know where the story will reach, but that's why she had to give everything, like to tell the story. Same as applies to Elijah, because they knew that now, since they are acting and telling the story, different people would hear their
real story,
their real cry, but not always all the time telling the people that help us, you communicate the message. But here they wanted to communicate, and they feel that through this, when they are telling their own story from different media,
such things will stop.
Because like now, when they know that Asha and Luke and the whole team, like they are talking to you directly, they say their feelings. Not like an example, like they tell me, you tell Asha, me, but when they are communicating directly, they feel their messages delivered. Yeah.
And then to add on that, I feel we still have the inferiority complex. Yeah. One thing I can say, whenever we are in public, many people don't want to get next to us. Yeah. And why it's continuing like that, self-esteem is also not there. So that's why we're bringing out such kinds of projects that they can give us affirmative actions to, go forward and stop all this chaos and stop all this hurting. Yeah.
Florence, utekereza ikindi ari iki? Babwira yuko utekereza ko bazaje baraza kabo abagira neza bakaza bakigerera hano
bakareba umubabaro n'ababayemo,
bakareba n'ibintu byo murimo gukora. So like for Florence, she's saying that she feels when some people like you, if you're in position of helping them, you should reach the time you come to see the progress they are doing. You talk to them like one-on-one, not always waiting that you receive messages from the people that they are working with.
Yeah.
Like you be in touch. Like now, she was like, at least now Asha, Rook, they reached on her place, on her home, on her house. They know how the situation is. They saw the house. They saw the children. So for her, she feels that one gave them a clear picture how they stay. So it was her idea and view that you people, you should also be doing the follow-up. You need to see if you're helping them, what your money is doing.
Yeah.
If you're helping in like with clothes, did the children receive them? If you're sponsoring some children to go to school, are these children in schools, are they studying? Yeah, like that. That was her view.
Yeah.
It is actually for us, this is why we wanted to show this video, this movie, because, well, I personally am researcher of survival, so I go to the field. But when I come back and tell this story to the people, no one, it's very, not no one, but a lot of people don't believe. They think it's impossible. You know, conservation is a good thing. Protecting animals is a good thing. It's impossible. So I think that showing with their own eyes the reality is very, even if this is a fiction, but it's based on reality, as I hope Ash and Luke will explain later. It is very important. I just wanted also to point out that there are 157 people listening and watching, and there were more before during the movie. So I think this is a very, it's very important because all these people actually have listened to your message. I wanted to ask you to explain us a little bit more what the land means for you, because a lot of people saying things that people have told me say, well, you know, what is the problem? We can take indigenous peoples, in the case the Batwa, out of their land and give them money, and then it will the problem will be solved. Can you explain to the people why for you is so important to live in those lands, to be in the forest, to have the right to be in the forest?
None forest bari kubaza kuki ubutaka mubukunda cyane, nuko bari kubaza ngo bakuvana ko mu shamba bakujana handi ariko utakunda ko wakundaga ku shamba, kuki mukunda ubutaka bwanyu cyane?
Uko twaryagamo icyo dushaka, twaryaga impongo, tukagenda tugacukura ibyo bihano tukabibona, tukagenda tugashakamo umuti, twaguraga imiti kugeza na n'izi sawa, ibyo nibyo biri kutubabaza.
So in France, in her view, she's saying that now, if you see in the forest, they would access everything for free. They would get honey, they would get that forest meat for free. They would get everything was for free. But here, when they removed them in the forest, they reached here in the community where they put them, and everything they give them, it's on order.
Yeah.
They tell them, now we are giving you this land, you're not supposed to do this before you tell us. You're not, if you want to get meat, it's to buy. The way you saw, like in the end, the way she said at the end of the movie, when she was buying meat, she wasn't happy because they gave her small piece, yet she would get a big meat, a big portion in the forest where they would enjoy as the family. But here it was little, and she was even like buying it, and it's hard for her like even to get money to go to buy it, and you find that they are not enjoying the life. So now she elaborates more that I can say that even getting water, it's hard for them. Like they buy, yet in the forest they would get those small rivers where they would get free water. Now, which is a big problem to them, they'd be paying. Like going in the community, find they are making lines with other people buying, like that.
Yeah, now like our fathers and forefathers are buried there, yes? So we really would like to be in the land of our ancestors. Then the forest, the air, the soil is the life we live compared to the alien lands we have now, yeah? And for example, right now, you're hearing about curfew. There wasn't curfew in the forest. Yeah, that's why you people are on pressure that we have to go and what. There wasn't COVID in the forest. Yeah, there wasn't national ID in the forest. You had access to everything, but here you have to go for a photograph. You have to go. It was very free. According to my father's stories, whenever he's telling me things, I feel I should be in a good life like that, because otherwise, going to a policeman and going into jail, there wasn't jail there. We would go and finish and sort out all those things with the kings, and things were really moving on very well. So I don't think I should have a national ID in the forest. Yeah.
And just to clarify, when a new park or when a forest is created, no one is asking you, a new protected area, conservation zone, is created. No one is going to you to ask your permission. Is something that happens that all of a sudden you realize there is how is the process? How do you realize that became a protected area, a conservation zone, a national park?
Sorry, Fiona, I should just jump in here slightly.
Okay.
Which is to say that, I mean, in the case of Flo and Elijah, they have limited memory of the actual removals from the forests.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big thing we discovered when we went to Kisoro and we started making the film, is that, you know, for a lot of the Batwa who have either been evicted while they were children or very young, or even 20 years ago, or even some of them who were evicted by, you know, it was their grandparents who were evicted, the forest has sort of almost like a mythic quality. The idea of the land, it's almost a myth in their minds. And for quite a few of the Batwa that we filmed with, when we were with them in the forest shooting those scenes you guys saw around the pig with the fire, that was the first time a lot of them had ever been in the forest. And, you know, the reason that party you saw was so lively and everyone was so happy is because of that. You know, it was amazing to see, I guess, how people who, although they don't actually, a lot of them have direct memory of it, still felt so connected to it and were still so happy to be there and so happy to be eating a pig, you know, and eating some meat that they could have got themselves. But yeah, just to clarify, maybe that exact question about them being consulted on new zones being created, I don't know how relevant it is, but yeah.
I should also say as well, in a way, the film is a period piece, because it's depicting events in Uganda which happened in the 90s, 1992. So in a way, Florence is playing her mother or her grandmother. She's playing a different generation. And what we found out now within Uganda is that the new generation, the forest is a very remote concept within Uganda. Within Rwanda and within the Congo, there are still Batwa who are being removed as we speak, and they still live there. But the population is very small in Uganda, and the forest is a distant memory now.
It's just to say that's one of the reasons why the film doesn't have. You'll see it's not in a specific country. It's set in a region, and for example, the Rangers don't have a specific national flag on their uniforms because we wanted to make it about this universal experience. It's exactly the same in the Congo, in Rwanda, in Uganda, but of course, we were unable to film in the Congo or in Rwanda in the same way that we were in Uganda. So instead, we thought we would go to the Batwa community in Uganda, film with people who were Batwa and could therefore play Batwa. But yeah, this direct experience, in a way, it's moved on, and so the Indigenous experience there has moved on, and it's kind of a different, but equally heartbreaking and really important issue. And I will stop talking and get back. Please, Flo, should carry on.
Yes, if I could say something, maybe a little bit. The Virunga is a big area, and the Batwa used to live in the whole Virunga, that is in Uganda, Congo, and Rwanda. However, these people, when they were evicted, they were promised to be given resettlements. But up to now, as we talk, they are living on lands to which they have no titles on. Yeah. They're always evicted from each place they're living in. Those ones who are in town, you would have friendships with them, but then tomorrow you hear that he has been taken somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else. You know, they don't have titles to these properties that they have. And it makes us wonder as well. These people owned the forest, but right now, they are homeless. Where they live, they can be put out of that place.
At any point.
At any point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go on.
Thank you very much for your contribution. I think we have to rush a little bit. So I will ask you anything else that you want to say before we see the statement that I think it's quite long. It's 8 minutes. So, and then we can, I hope you could still be there, but I don't know. So I will take this opportunity to give you the space to say whatever you want to say. As I repeat, I think it's important. The people that are watching mostly come from the countries that are funding, they're giving money to this kind of conservation, and they most think they're doing good. So I give you again the platform, whatever you want to say, to explain better, to whatever message you have, is more than welcome. We are here learning, so thank you very much.
none bari kubaza ibisigaye byo mufite byo kuvuga aho nyumva ufite ko abyira biriya ngo bafite kugaruka babongeremo amani kugira mu bereke ibintu birebire siko none weho wavuga iki none ibigusa ndabishaka kubabwira
yewe cyo nakwifuza gusembayo nakwifuza kugira ngo bagaruke twongere dukorane.
Okay.
So for Florence, she feels, she says in the meantime you have given her to say anything, she feels that she would wish that the team that came, Luke and Asha, they come back here in Uganda to make a future film. Because she says this one was a short film for like to show. And now they feel that they have a lot to talk about, a lot to show in the future film, because here they were like limited to talk more and show a lot. So she was like, she's wishing that they come back for the future film and they will see and show and talk a lot that concerns the Batwa.
Yes.
Yep. The film is self-explanatory. So I would utter out to the directors and thank them very much for bringing that up to us. And really, I thank people like Asha who came up with that big dream. I'm not sure that Asha is all after gaining money, but he's after saving a life. Yeah, that's what I can say. He's after saving a life. So if possible, I would love we get the future film, but I would suggest, it's a very big suggestion and a request, that we would love to go to different communities of the Batwa in different parts of the Batwa people and show them this movie. And they give us their ideas upon the few questions that you are asking us. So if the Batwa look at this future film and it's bringing out the messages that they want to utter out to the people. So I would love we continue more, and at one point we shall be very great like any other person.
Yeah. So Florence,
just wanted to say thank you guys for letting us make the film. Wakaze Chane for everything you did, and we'll see you soon.
Yes. Maybe lastly, for the time we had together as we were making the short film, we have seen a big change between the Batwa that actually participated with us. Florence, Bizimana, these people have changed actually. Bizimana right now, we bought some livestock for him, and actually the cow, he called it Hope, and it gave birth to a calf, and he named the calf Love. Yes, and you could see, if we have a chance to make a future film, we believe the people who will be watching it will be paying a penny that will save a life of a Mutwa down there. Tui, the young boy, will have a chance to go to school and be able to speak the same English like Elia here. Well, otherwise, thank you very much for the opportunity you had with us.
I have to thank you all in the name of Survival International, and also for the amazing movie that you performed. It's such an important tool for us to show to people what is going on, and to ask the people to join this movement to decolonize conservation. So thank you very much. You're very talented. Really, it's such an important message for us to show to people. So I really hope that you get the longer movie. So that will be.
Yeah, and
yeah. Go ahead.
And to me, and to me, I thank you people a lot.
Yeah.
By the time I worked with Asha, I'm Ezra. And like I gained a lot of experience, and I was happy that they thought of this group, the story about the Batwa. At least now, for the few time we have spent with Elijah, Florence, Tui, Bisman, you can see that there is a big change in their lives. You see Florence here, she's happy and she's like new. You see, she's different. She has braided the hair. She says that she needs to show the people she worked with that they created something big in her life. If you would see Tui, now he's a different guy in school. When you meet him in the school uniform, I hope that one time you people will come and see him. In a school, he's like other children. You can't differentiate. You can't tell that this is a Mutwa, and he's enjoying the life there. So I thank you people. I thank Asha, and we hope that they are coming back the way you have said, and we pray that there is that connection. Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you people.
I invite, so we will now show the 8-minute statement, and then I think it's 8 minutes, and then we will talk a little bit more, I think for other 15 minutes about the how the film has been made and the process. I think it's very interesting and important to understand how this kind of movie, it's actually, the community is very involved, and I think it's an amazing process. So we will then discuss about that if you have questions. So now I let you to the statement.
Fiore, can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to change the plans, but it seems that while it seems like the guys don't have to go. And Luke and I were just saying, we think we made the statement because we thought maybe the network wouldn't be good.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure that they got to say everything they wanted to say. But they've said everything so great, and I feel they've almost said like a lot of what's in the statement. So maybe it would be great still to play the statement at the very end when we've done everything. But I feel that maybe while we still got the guys, we could go carry on with the Q&A, and because they can also answer about the making of the film. It's not just we really did make this film together. We're the directors, but we like to feel that Ezra and Innocent are also co-creators. They're writers, they're directors. Elijah's worked on other films before, and at times he was almost an assistant director. Florence was a writer in all sorts of different ways. She wrote 80% of her lines, and a huge amount of the story came from her. So in a way, it's best if they keep while we've got them. We carry on.
That's much better. I actually wanted to, because I know how the process went, so I thought it was important to have them here too. So let's talk about how this movie, if you can tell a little bit of the story, how this movie was born.
Yeah, I could probably speak on that. Yeah, I first visited Uganda in 2013. I've kind of lived there on and off. I never visited South, so I never saw the Batwa. But I had an idea for a film about an action film about rangers, which I collaborated with on Ash. There was a slow process where the film was changing. It was going through a few different production companies. So I think what happened there is a real sign of how this whole process has been about shedding misconceptions about conservation for us, and shedding the Western European paradigm of what conservation is, and conservation as a kind of moral good or a truism. I mean, so in the last 5 years, we've gone from a film that was about rangers as heroes to a film where rangers are perpetrators. And we've identified the true victim, which isn't just, it isn't simply nature, it's also human beings, and it's also the Batwa.
Yeah, and that really how it came about was, as Luke says, he had lived in Uganda, and we had this idea for a film together that was an action movie about rangers. And then I was writing this script, and I was sent to Uganda on a research trip in order to kind of try and get closer to the rangers, try and learn more about the wildlife. And there was one scene in the film that was about the Batwa. And so I did a Batwa trail myself. I went, and like any tourist does, I went and did it. And I felt that I wasn't getting a true experience, an authentic experience. And afterwards, I started talking with guys I met in Kisoro. Ugandans are the most friendly people you will meet, not to make generalizations, but it's remarkably easy to talk to people when you're in Uganda. And slowly I started to realize that there was kind of a whole different story about the Batwa. And I went to see some of the Batwa slums, some of the, there's a part of town called Michingo where they live. And I was just horrified. I was really, really horrified. And I've spent a lot of time in different parts of the developing world, but I'd never seen people suffering quite as badly as this community. And really, I guess this experience haunted me and us. And so I came back, and slowly we started to realize that this was the story, and that the story we wanted to tell was about the Batwa, but that we didn't have the research, we didn't really have the tools. So we went back with very little. We went to Uganda with very, very little. All we had really was, we wanted to tell a story about the Batwa being removed from the forest, and then having to recreate the culture that had been killed for tourists who had probably killed the culture indirectly, and to follow this chain all the way through with one character and one emotional story. Really, for us, it's also it's almost, we feel it's a new methodology. It's a methodology we want to bring more into the world, which is to try and sort of use art and use storytelling to sort of to bring about social change, and to draw attention to something in an emotional way. And so then when we got there, we all we did is meet people. So we met maybe 800 Batwa all over the country for a few weeks, and slowly we kind of narrowed down who we would work with, and eventually we chose Bizimana and Florence, and then we all lived together for about a month and a half in a house on a hill, and we started playing games and just kind of being free and sort of introducing the idea of a film, a story, a piece of art, and we started listening and sort of slowly trying to figure out if we had this architecture for a story, but we didn't have the specifics. So we would open it up in these long discussion groups where we would sit with Flo and Bisman and Innocent and Ezra, and we would all just kind of throw ideas back and forth, and then slowly, kind of like this, we built the story, and that's what the 15 minutes you see is. But then out of that experience also came so much information about Bizimana and Florence's lives, that we've built a longer story, which is in a way truer and simpler, and it's really about their experience now as Batwa who have been evicted after the evictions happened, and what it means to try and eke out a living on this tourist trail of cultural performance, and through that kind of really important issue, we think we managed to get at the sadness of what's happened, of this strange situation where the culture is only kept alive in song, in poetry, in performance, only kept alive for tourists almost, but also something maybe fun, maybe entertaining, and definitely beautiful, because in this singing and dancing, you get to showcase the amazing talent of these people, their beautiful songs, their impressions, and so you get to kind of bring it to life in a way that we think people will be able to watch and come on a journey with them and feel something. And it's also a love story. It's a love story between Bizimana and Florence, which kind of grew out of a chemistry that we started to see develop over this devising period, improvising with everyone. But yeah, I've waffled a lot. Basically, it was a very organic process. It kind of evolved step by step. And that's how we intend it to continue, as a collaborative sort of improvisational process that's just sort of about getting at the truth, and hopefully bringing that to the world a little bit.
There are a couple just very quickly about very logistic questions, I think, about how, like, did you have any kind of problem with the authorities where you were filming? If you film inside a national park, where did you film, and how the film was funded? Just put all of them
I
there.
think the guys can answer that.
Yeah. Okay.
Ezra and Inno, did you guys hear the question?
Pardon, you can come again, maybe with a question.
The question was, how did we film the Rangers? How did we deal with the authorities? And how did we film in the national parks?
Okay. Yes, it wasn't easy for us. But us as the team, we had to bring different ideas. One would bring an idea, we say, okay, this one would work, this one won't work. So we had to work as a team. It wasn't easy like staying with these people, yet it was their first time to stay like in in electricity, like talking to Toy. It wasn't easy for us to convince them. But as like working with the authorities, we had to first ask for permission to the police, writing to them. Sometimes they toss us, no, today you are not talking to us. Still we would, as the team, we would go back there, we talk to them, beseech, tell them this is a story to teach people.
As you spend more money.
And as like we would spend even some little money on them, like then going to do the uniforms, that is where we reached. We wanted to use a certain school for the uniform for the Rangers. They disappointed us on the last hour. Man, it wasn't easy.
In the end, we had to get we got a tailor to build all the uniforms because we couldn't legally make uniforms. And we shot in a kind of adjacent area to the national park. So we weren't actually right in it. We were in a large piece of privately owned land that it's ancient forest. So, you know, it's got trees that are thousands of years old and it's exactly like the rest of it, but it's not actually owned by the government because that would be very, very expensive and difficult. So yeah, we had to be very creative. And luckily, I think Ezra had the connection to that piece of land and managed to sort of wangle our way. It was always coming up with a lot of creative solutions, but luckily we had a lot of creative people.
Almost as creative as the film itself.
Yeah, maybe more so.
Lots of improvisation.
Then there is a time I will never forget on this project, on this film. Ash and I, we were in the car coming from the location to look for that forest. We made an accident. We were going to die from the car, but it was Asha had to fight with the car to bring it back on the road. But we were going to die, and the film would end from there. And we had to meet a lot of challenges, repairing the car, shouting with different people, going on set when these people are not like the Florence are not in the mood. When it was a lot, and I'm happy now that we achieved what we wanted. Yeah. At first, I would do small movies, and but through Asha, I saw the love he has for these people.
Yeah.
The love he has to tell the story.
That's what I call saving a life. Yeah.
Like he wanted to save some people. I found myself like also entering into it. I found that these people have become part of me. They are my people. There is a time I learned from Luke. We were in the forest and Florence wasn't having a bed cover. And Luke said, no, I can offer. He offered his bed cover. This was like to show this is love. It's not for their benefit, but to save some people. Then from there, I also said, yes, this is what we should be doing. If we are somehow okay, we need to think of those people who are suffering. And indeed, they are here, at least they can smile. Yeah, and I'm happy that it came out.
It sounds really fantastic. And so I just want, because we have just 15 minutes and I really want to know which are the next projections. What are you thinking about when if you are thinking to show this film somewhere else, because people are asking. And so this is more for Ash and Luke. And the other one is a very technical question. How was it funded? I think it's important to, it's an important information to give, because these kind of movies are very difficult to find as with this very beautiful participatory model. So it's interesting to know how it was funded. So those two questions.
Do you mind if I answer first?
Yeah,
so it was funded and continues to be funded in a larger feature project in three ways. the first way is by being very cheap. So it didn't need a lot of funding. A lot of no one in Uganda, but a lot of other people were working for free, in post-production, etc. And so, the film was made for a small amount of money by sort of typical filmmaking standards, and we really tried to kind of not let that compromise our creative ambitions and what we wanted to achieve. We really tried to make sure we stretched the little money we had. And I'm really happy with the way we've done it. I think we can do it more now we have more experience, and achieve a better result, maybe even with less or with the same amount. So that was sort of one way it was funded. The other way it was funded is we got a small grant from our production company. It was an amount of money that would usually be used towards script development. So it would usually be basically used to pay me and Luke to sort of write a new draft of a script. But instead, we thought we could use this small amount of money to somehow make a film, and we managed to do it. And Scala were, believed in us enough to let us do it. And then the third way was we had donations. So we did a fundraiser, and the fundraiser is how we paid for a lot of the initiatives that we've been running, and also how we finance part of the film as well. And that fundraiser is ongoing for the feature project. The feature project is being financed in a similar way. We have some investment from our production company, we have some private investment, and we're hoping to get more and more people interested. And any donation helps, goes a really long way in Uganda, and it goes a really long way both in terms of helping the guys on the ground. Florence talks about the house that we started building for her, a permanent structure, and which we want to finish. But we're also able to get livestock, which is an income producing asset for Bismana and Florence, and send to his son to school. So that's almost, it's constantly operating in tandem with the film production. And because we're on the ground, and because we have Ezra and Innocent, we're really, really direct. We're not a big organization. We don't, the money doesn't go to paying anyone's salaries. It goes directly to the source. And when we're there making a film, because we're already doing so many things, and we're embedded in the community, we're embedded in what's going on in town, we're able to achieve things at reasonably small budget, and that means both achieve things for the screen, but luckily also achieve things for the people whose story we're telling. And we just wish we could do more. But yeah, I think that's the answer to the funding question. We will be showing it. Yes, we will be showing it in other places. It's currently doing a few premiere, so it's doing the US premiere tonight at the Slam Dance Film Festival, and there's some other festivals like that it'll be playing out throughout the world. So we're limited in that we can't do a public screening. We can't just make it online available to everyone yet, but at some point in the future, it will become available.
And something we've been talking about back on the ground in Uganda, something I'd really love to push, and maybe Survivor could help us with, is doing a screening in Kazoro amongst the Batwa community, or any large Batwa Gap communities that live around the district. And that's something we'd love our crew in place to organise and to push for.
Yeah, I mean, Flo and Biza have only been able to see the film and Tui through, on Ezra's laptop. It's access to the internet and to, among the Batwa is really limited. So in a way, it's this really sad reality where so many people made the film and a lot of them won't even see it. So yeah, I think we need to and will definitely make sure going forward that we get the film out to as many people, both in the region and then internationally as possible.
It's also having an impact within the continent, within Africa. We won Best Short Film at the Africa Movie Awards, which we were all very happy about. So it's not just a simple Western Ugandan dynamic. It's also making the middle classes within Africa aware of the story as well.
Yeah, because a lot of the tourists it's not all white people who are tourists. There are increasingly, there's a wealthy Ugandan middle class, there's a wealthy African middle class, and they're also tourists to these parks. And they're the people who also have a lot of power to lobby their own governments to implement change. And And we also feel that, you know, a lot of films made about the developing world, the flow of capital is very much one way. Usually a very big organized production company comes in, makes a film, pays people on the ground, and then screens the film back in Europe, and they make money in Europe, and the audience is in Europe, but it doesn't really ever have any life in the region. So we were really happy that, you know, festivals like the AMA in Nigeria have screened the film, and that hopefully some people are going to get to see the film in the region, and that's something we definitely want to focus on when we do move forward to the feature. I think the third question was, what are our plans about making the feature? Which are, we're sort of waiting basically on raising a little bit of more finance. We're sort of most of the way there, but we're hoping that in the next 6 months to a year, we get all the way there, and pretty much as soon as that's in place, we'll be out there and working again. Everything's ready, the team's ready, the script's ready, and yeah, just trying to put the last few pieces together.
Well, thank you very much. It's encouraging. I'm receiving also a lot of messages of people saying that they hope you do this long movie. So I hope that happened too. Well, we have to close at this point. So we have other 5 minutes. If you want to add anything about that we missed, or I didn't ask, or the people attending didn't ask anything important about the movie, or what you are expecting people to, how do you are expecting the people to react to this movie, there is any other message that you want to tell? I'm reading the questions at the same time.
The last thing I would just say is that on the feature project, we're going to be collaborating even more than we did on this project. So I'll be sharing my director credit. We hope it's going to be the first film by a Ugandan director to play an international festival. You know, we're going to be basically basing it entirely on the lives of Florence and Visa, rather than even bringing in architecture from the start. So we're hoping it's going to be an even more Ugandan film. And we just wanted to say that if anyone is interested in following the film as it progresses, seeing how we film it, and then getting information about the eventual release, there is a website they can go to, which is Nyama, N-Y-A-M-A, nyamafilm.com. And we have a little sign up, so we'll keep anyone informed that wants to know more. But we just also, I would like to say thank you so much everyone for watching it, and I'm really happy Flo and Elijah got to talk.
It's the people are also asking just this. I think it's better for you to reply what they can do. I mean, I guess this is something that is better for the people that are affected or are, well, criminalized by the way of protecting nature. But what can people that are how can they support, I guess, both the Batwa and this project? I think this is a good question to end up. If you, Flo, want to say anything about this?
The project's very easy to help. The Batwa, it's harder to help, unfortunately, but hopefully the project will help the Batwa. Well, the project will definitely help the Batwa we work with. The entire Batwa community, it's hard to help. So, I mean, Survival are doing really important things in terms of advocacy in developed countries, international community. On the ground, there are some organizations, but I would encourage people who want to help on the ground to help us with the project, because the project will help Batwa on the ground. And if they do go to that website I mentioned, you know, we're very grateful for any donations. The donations go to the film, they go to the Batwa on the ground. So that's the easiest way they can help the project, and hopefully the Batwa as well. But beyond that, helping the Batwa, I think there's also something that I mentioned in the chat, which the guys mentioned, which is if you go to Uganda, if you see a trail, don't maybe do the organized trail, make sure you give your money directly to the people you see performing, to the people themselves. Don't give it to a fixer, don't give it to an organization. A lot of the time, our experience has been, and obviously it's not uniform, and there are good organizations out there, that the Batwa don't get a lot of the benefits that they potentially should. So I think that's one thing that hopefully could change in the tourist community, is that people would start being more and more direct in their engagement with the communities. And it's really easy to kind of get in touch once you're in the region. you just ask around and, you know, kind of follow your nose, and you'll meet people.
Thank you very much. Yes, we also just one thing from our side, we are organizing an event about these issues, the effects of and the consequences of this kind of conservation on indigenous peoples in Berlin on the 28th April, and other more actions in March, because the 30% is going, this proposal to create more protected areas is going to be discussed in different forums. So I invite you to follow Survival social medias. I think my colleagues have been sharing that to be update and inform about which our next events are going to be. And I leave the end of this to Edaya and Florence, if you want to say anything or to add anything of what we have already said.
Barakubaza icyo mufite kuvuga kiri gusembaye no gushima mbe no kubabwira babongereho isembe amashiringi.
Me, I want to say these remarks. I'm very glad to meet you people, and I'm very happy that you people are really concerned about our lives and are really wanting us to be like any other people. I am very glad that Survival International has put in power to make sure that things work out, surely. Thank you very much, Fiore. Thank you very much, Asha and Luke. If possible, kindly help us, we go for the future film. I know this is not only going to stay on screens, it's going to change lives of people, so that we can get more Batwa, be like any other people and come up and be warriors. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless all of you.
Kabisa, Elijah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Does Flo want to say something?
Umunsi mwiza kuba navugana namwe, ndi kubashima cyane kugeza na neza sawa, ndi kubashima kugira ngo mwongere mugaruke twongere tuzirirwane, ndi kuba missinga mbe.
Okay, so Florence, are you on, guys?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, so Florence was like, she's missing the team, Ash and Rook, and I think you saw how she was expressing it. She says that she's missing them and she hopes that they come back and we work together for a future film. And she's like, she's so happy. It's her first time to sit on a computer, talk to people outside
On a Zoom meeting,
which some of the Batwa did not do, they haven't done, and she feels that now the life is changing, and she thanks the host.
Yeah.
What is her name? Florence.
Okay.
My name is Florence.
Elijah and Ambashi.
And she says that she's even happy to see that the host of the Zoom was a lady, and she was talking to a lady also.
And giving out a deeper point.
Yeah. So she's so happy. You can see her, and she feels that for the future film, we shall be better and reach far.
She added on to say that she wants more Batwa to be on Zoom meetings soon.
Yeah. And thank you very much, Ash. Thank you very much, Rook, and our host. I'm so happy that this one has happened, and we hope for the better in the future.
Yes, from me, I'm so glad that actually we had a chance to interact with the Batwa. Personally, at my stage, I felt bad to myself that when I had a chance to interact with the Batwa, I realized that there is a way I used to treat them that actually should change.
Yeah.
Even us who live with them here, there is a need to change our perspective about them. And this film is actually working out the big deal about it. Otherwise, from me, Innocent, thank you very much.
Oh, I want to tell us one thing. If you saw on the Batwa ladies, the ones that were on the trail, the one who was putting on a brew.
Oh,
you remember Mahirwe, the one who had a baby that would cry when we were shooting?
Yes.
Yeah, that baby died last week, they got a flood and that baby died. So we are like telling you that's sad news, but she lost the baby.
Well, send our regards and our condolences.
Yes.
This is Annette.
Yes, Annette.
We'll talk. I think we'll talk.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So sorry to hear that. Thank you really again very much for this. It was so important for us. I also learned a lot, and I really thank everyone, not only Florence and Elia, also you others, which I don't have your name, but I thank you so much for being here in the translate and help. And Ash and Luke, this film is amazing. So congratulations and go ahead to all of you. It's very important, and I really hope we are going to see each other in the future, and we will be able to screen the longer version. So thank you, and have a very nice evening. Goodbye.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Fiore.